generating 36,000 pounds of thrust. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you your United States Navy's A-18E Hornet.
Definitely under the skies out there. Rob, tell you a little bit about
this from the decks of aircraft carriers worldwide. Let's see if we can get them in the cockpit. Hey, Worm, this is Rob. How are you, bud?
Oh, good, Rob. How you doing?
Good. How fast are you going right now?
600.9 knots.
All right, he's got to be back around for the next maneuver. It looks to me, Stewie, like he's got an airplane at speeds as low as 110 miles per hour. Now, what are we going to see? The minimum radius turn here?
No, looks like he's probably going to be coming up with a double Ribbleman, Rob.
Oh, he's going to go right to the double. All right, World War I maneuver. A half a loop and a half a roll. After he graduated from the Metropolitan State College of Denver, he got his wings of gold.
Civilian Jack Douglas, sir.
Now, if you can't turn tight, you can't fight. What Worm is going to demonstrate now is the ability of the Hornet to turn in a very tight space. What's he going to do here, Stewie?
Well, right now he's aiming for 350 knots right over the top of show center there. He's going to go ahead and light an afterburner just before he hits that show center, and then he's going to go ahead and modulate the pull on the stick, leaving it in burner to hit 350 knots, and to pull that all the way around 60 degrees.
Flight deck sometimes. What you're going to see next is called the Carrier Configuration Pass. Lieutenant Fred Allen will slow the airplane down to about 250 knots. He will then lower the landing gear and flaps and the tail hook. It is the tail hook that allows the Hornet to stop in an area not much larger than your driveway. And these descents to the carrier deck are pretty severe, aren't they, Stewie?
Yeah, they're quite severe, Rob. You're looking at anywhere from 700 to approximately, maybe even up to 1,500 feet per minute rate of descent. That is essentially a controlled crash.
Does it hurt the back a lot?
Well, it's such a short guy. You probably have issues. Execute the second half of that half cube mate. 1,200 feet, he's going to light the afterburners and he's going to his displays in front of the right into the display.
possess. It's called a pitch-ring ammo. Can you explain it to the crowd?
Well, I can tell you he's going to come around, and he's looking for about 280 knots, about 1,500 feet before the show center there. He's going to stage his afterburners. He's going to be right at corner airspeed when he hits show center. What he's going to do is slap that stick right into his lap, get that nose pointed 60 degrees nose up, get your cameras ready. You might have coming around the circle, looking to set himself up, probably around 250, 200 knots, somewhere in that vicinity. Looking to get himself lined up on the 1,500-foot line and slow him down. By the time he hits the far end of the runway there, he's probably going to be seeing somewhere in the vicinity of 15 to 18 alpha, Rob. As soon as he sees about 15 alpha, it's going to build real quickly. So he'll go ahead and start staging the throttles forward. Looking to set somewhere in the mid-80s to go ahead and capture 25 alpha.
Hey, Worm, this is Rob Ryder, and I'm down here with Stewie. How slow are you going, and what's your alpha?
I'm slowing down right now through 150. Alpha's at 12, slowly building.
Keep going. Talk us right through it, partner.
Here we go through 130. There's 13 alpha. Then down to the 120 range. There's 17. You should be able to see the jet squats and nose come up to 25 degrees. Pitch attitude with the waterline. Looking at 102 knots in the hood.
102 knots across the ground, Stewie.
25 alpha, 112 knots.
112 knots. My Cessna 172 faster now. The Hornet's going to come over at 500 feet before perform an overhead brake and then go into a descent. Set up for that carrier brake, and then we're actually seeing what the configuration looks like, Stewie. He's going to actually set up for a pinpoint landing on the runway.
Farther down the runway than he normally does. His whole intention here is basically to do the touch go. On the touch go, he's going to pull up to about 15 to 20 degrees nose high and then roll off on his side. And, well, here he comes for the actual brake, that is. After that touch go, he's going to show you the underside of the airplane with the gear on its way up.
Here's the carrier brake. Midfield. On the speed, he'll lower the gear.
Obviously to have the cans pointed at the crowd, so we're making lots of noise for you guys. As soon as those cans are off, he's going to throttle it right back to idle and utilize G in order to bleed off all that extra airspeed that he's got. As soon as he hits 250, he's going to go ahead and drop the gear and the flaps, Rob.
All right, now as he comes around, he's got about 15 seconds to establish himself on his final approach course. Why don't we go to the carrier and you pretend you're the landing signal officer and your paddles, why don't you do the radio call like they do it right in the actual situation where they're going to touch down.
All right, Rob, I'll give it a try. I'm not an LSO here, so I don't want to offend Worm up there, but I'll give it a try. 336 Hornet Temple, call the ball.
336 Hornet ball, 4.4 Worm.
Roger ball.
He won't flare. He's going to touch down. Now, the next thing he does, like every pilot will do, the minute the wheels touch the deck, whether the hook catches or not, the throttles will go forward. In case there's a bolter or a miswire, they'll have enough power to go around.
Here you go, folks. Get your cameras ready here as he turns over, shows you his underside. The gear. aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, from the left, Lieutenant Worm, Allen, Hot, Fury, and Stinky.